Remember those delicious recipes from the 1970s you could cook in under 5 minutes? These recipes once saved busy weeknights, filling kitchens with warm smells before a commercial break ended. What else from that fast, flavorful time have we left behind? Shrimp cocktail cups were the sort of flashy appetizer that made every 1970s gathering feel just a little more glamorous without demanding a single stressful minute of cooking. Pre-cooked shrimp meant no one had to fiddle with boiling pots or worry about timing. You would simply chill those pink curls in a bowl of ice water while mixing up a tangy cocktail sauce of ketchup, prepared horseradish, a squeeze of lemon juice, and a dash of hot sauce if you were feeling bold. Iceberg lettuce shredded into crisp ribbons lined the serving cups to give everything a cool crunch. The shrimp were arranged in neat circles like tiny crowns, and the sauce was spooned right into the center so guests could dip as they pleased. This was food designed to impress and to be ready almost instantly. The bright red sauce and the frosty shrimp made a dramatic splash against the pale lettuce, and that visual punch was as important as the taste. Hosts loved how the dish stayed fresh on a buffet table for an entire evening while they enjoyed their own party. In a decade obsessed with quick elegance, nothing else came close to this 5-minute classic. Pineapple cottage cheese salad offered the kind of sweet and savory combination that perfectly captured 1970s creativity with canned fruit. Thick golden rings of pineapple came straight from the can, their syrupy edges glistening in the light of a retro kitchen. A generous scoop of creamy cottage cheese was placed in the center, creating a soft contrast to the bright fruit. A single maraschino cherry on top gave a pop of red that looked cheerful enough to make any dinner plate feel like a celebration. The beauty of this recipe was its complete reliance on pantry staples that were always on hand and needed no heat or chopping. It was cool, refreshing, and surprisingly filling, making it a favorite for potlucks and quick weeknight sides alike. Children loved the hint of sweetness, while adults enjoyed the light protein boost that kept the dish from being a pure dessert. Served on a bed of crisp lettuce or plain on a small saucer, it carried a quiet elegance that fit right in at backyard barbecues or church socials. In under 5 minutes, anyone could create a dish that tasted indulgent yet wholesome, proof that the 1970s knew how to dress up even the simplest ingredients. Ambrosia fruit salad was a dish that turned ordinary canned goods into something that felt downright festive. Open a can of mandarin oranges, a can of pineapple tidbits, and a jar of bright red cherries, then drain and fold them gently into a bowl of fluffy whipped topping. Add a handful of miniature marshmallows and a sprinkle of sweetened coconut flakes, and you had a creamy, dreamy salad that looked like a dessert and tasted like a celebration. The name alone promised a taste of something heavenly, and in the 1970s, this easy recipe became a staple at every picnic, church supper, and family reunion. It required no cooking and very little effort, yet it brought a sense of indulgence that belied its humble ingredients. Parents loved how quickly it came together while children clamored for the soft marshmallows and bursts of fruit. It was equally welcome at a summer barbecue or a winter holiday table, always ready to delight with its pastel colors and gentle sweetness. In an era when convenience met creativity, Ambrosia proved that a can opener and a mixing spoon were all you needed to create a dish that everyone would remember long after the party ended. Antipasto skewers took the bold flavors of an Italian deli and delivered them in a bite-sized form that defined 1970s cocktail hour. Cubes of sharp cheese, slices of salami, tangy pickled peppers, and briny olives were threaded onto small wooden toothpicks in whatever order pleased the eye. The result was a rainbow of reds, greens, and creamy yellows that looked as striking as they tasted. Because everything came straight from the refrigerator or pantry, preparation was as simple as opening jars and slicing a few wedges of cheese. Guests could grab a skewer with one hand while holding a drink in the other, which made them a perfect choice for lively gatherings where conversation mattered more than formal seating. A drizzle of olive oil or a light dusting of dried oregano could be added at the last second for extra flair. The salty, savory bite captured the spirit of an adventurous decade when Americans were eager to try European flavors but still wanted the speed of a 5-minute recipe. These skewers remain a perfect example of how a few quality ingredients can create a party dish that feels effortless and unforgettable. Watergate salad arrived with a mysterious name and a playful green color that fascinated every 1970s household. Pistachio pudding mix gave it that soft mint hue, while crushed pineapple added a tropical sweetness that made each spoonful refreshing. Whipped topping folded everything into a cloud-like texture, and miniature marshmallows added chewy little surprises with every bite. Some families tossed in chopped pecans for a gentle crunch, while others kept it smooth and creamy depending on what they had in the pantry. The entire recipe could be finished before the evening news even began, making it a hit for last-minute dessert needs or potluck contributions that required no stress. Children were drawn to the bright color, while adults appreciated the subtle, nutty flavor that set it apart from ordinary fruit salads and other quick sweets. Despite the political scandal sharing its name, Watergate salad kept its reputation as a cheerful treat for gatherings of all kinds and sizes. It required no stove, no oven, and no waiting, only a mixing bowl and a quick stir from start to finish. In less than 5 minutes, you could create something that looked whimsical and tasted indulgent, proving that the decade valued both speed and fun with a touch of flair. Stuffed celery with pimento cheese combined cool crunch and creamy tang in a way that belonged on every 1970s party tray and buffet table. Fresh celery stalks were washed and cut into bite-sized lengths, their natural hollow centers waiting to be filled with a rich cheese mixture. A quick blend of shredded cheddar, mayonnaise, and finely diced pimentos came together in seconds to create a spread that was bold, colorful, and addictive without needing any cooking. The sharpness of the cheese met the gentle sweetness of the red peppers, creating a balance that pleased both children and adults alike at every gathering. Hosts loved that the snack stayed crisp and fresh on a platter for hours, allowing them to mingle instead of rushing back to the kitchen or worrying about soggy bread. Because every ingredient came straight from the refrigerator or pantry, preparation took no more than a handful of minutes and cleanup was almost nothing. Served alongside crackers or as a simple side dish, these stuffed stalks delivered a satisfying crunch and a creamy bite that perfectly captured the decade's love of easy entertaining. Quick, colorful, and delightfully nostalgic, it remains a timeless 5-minute recipe that still wins hearts today. Avocado boats floated onto the scene when Americans first fell in love with the smooth green fruit, and they quickly became a symbol of 1970s sophistication and California style. Perfectly ripe avocados were halved and pitted, their creamy centers forming natural bowls for a cool seafood salad of crab, shrimp, or even tuna, mixed with a light dressing of lemon juice and herbs. A sprinkle of paprika or a squeeze of fresh lemon brightened the flavor and added visual flair that looked straight out of a restaurant menu. The preparation was as easy as slicing the fruit and stirring the filling, yet the finished dish looked as elegant as anything served in a fancy coastal cafe or a high-end dinner party. These boats brought a tropical note to suburban dinner tables and fit the era's growing interest in fresh produce and lighter California cuisine. They were ideal for light lunches, breezy cocktail parties, or last-minute suppers when turning on the stove felt like too much effort after a long day. The combination of buttery avocado and chilled seafood made each bite luxurious, despite the minimal cost and time, proving that quick recipes could still feel decadent and modern for every household. Instant French onion dip became the undisputed king of 1970s snack tables because it required almost no effort and tasted like you had been cooking all afternoon for guests. A tub of cool sour cream met a packet of dry onion soup mix in a simple mixing bowl, and within seconds, the dip was ready to enjoy. The dehydrated onions softened just enough to release a sweet, savory flavor that paired perfectly with crisp potato chips or fresh vegetable sticks for a balanced bite. This recipe fit the decade's fascination with convenience foods while still delivering a homemade feel that impressed friends and neighbors at casual gatherings. It was the go-to choice for game nights, backyard barbecues, and any gathering where people wanted to snack without interruption or wait for something to bake. Hosts appreciated that it could be made in advance or moments before guests arrived, and it never failed to disappear before the evening was over. No oven, no stove, not even a cutting board was required, just a quick stir, and it was complete. The creamy texture and bold flavor made it an instant classic that generations still remember fondly today, proof that simple ideas often last the longest. Radish and butter canapes offered a crisp, peppery bite that felt refreshingly rustic amid the richer party foods of the 1970s and still feels elegant today. Thin slices of fresh radish were laid across buttered rounds of rye or pumpernickel bread, their bright red edges standing out like little jewels on a festive tray. The key was the quality of the butter, which softened slightly against the cool bread and mellowed the sharpness of the radish without overpowering its natural flavor. A pinch of sea salt brought everything together, creating a taste that was both earthy and refined with each bite. Preparation took only a few minutes, making these canapes a favorite for hosts who wanted a unique appetizer without any cooking or complex ingredients. They reflected a quiet back-to-nature movement of the decade, when gardeners and health-conscious families embraced simple produce as something to be celebrated at the table. Served on a wooden board or silver tray, they added a sophisticated European touch to American cocktail parties and informal gatherings. Their balance of crunch, creaminess, and subtle spice kept guests coming back for more. And even today, the combination of radish and butter remains a timeless 5-minute snack. Cheese and grape kebabs turned the humble fruit and cheese plate into a playful finger food that perfectly fit the fun-loving vibe of the 1970s. Sharp cheddar cubes alternated with seedless grapes on small wooden picks, creating cheerful patterns of gold and purple. The sweet burst of the grape balanced the salty richness of the cheese, making each bite a perfect contrast of flavors. Assembly was quick and required no more than a cutting board and a few minutes of threading. These kebabs looked impressive on buffet tables, catching the light like tiny jewels and inviting guests to grab one without hesitation. They were ideal for backyard parties, school events, or casual evenings when friends dropped by unexpectedly. Hosts loved that the recipe was inexpensive yet eye-catching, and children enjoyed helping assemble the colorful skewers. With no need for heating or seasoning, they proved that true crowd pleasers could be prepared in less time than it took to pour a drink. Cheese and grape kebabs remain a charming reminder of a decade that embraced bold simplicity and knew how to turn the ordinary into something delightful. Prosciutto-wrapped melon balls were the picture of 1970s cocktail chic, a bite-sized combination of sweet and salty that looked far fancier than the effort required. Perfectly ripe cantaloupe or honeydew was scooped into neat spheres using a melon baller and then chilled until icy cold. Thin slices of prosciutto were draped around each piece of fruit, their silky texture hugging the juicy melon like a soft ribbon. A quick twist of freshly cracked black pepper or a delicate brush of olive oil added a touch of complexity without distracting from the natural flavors. Hosts loved this recipe because it offered a luxurious taste of Europe with almost no preparation, and guests marveled at how such simple ingredients could feel so elegant. These little jewels were as comfortable on a silver platter at a wedding reception as they were at a backyard summer gathering. The contrast of salty cured meat and sweet chilled fruit provided a memorable first bite that captured the decade's fascination with global flavors. Ready in moments and gone even faster, this disco-era party plate remains a symbol of effortless entertaining that defined the quick yet stylish food trends of the time. Gazpacho shots brought a cool Mediterranean breeze to warm American evenings and made every casual gathering feel like a fashionable European cafe. Ripe tomatoes, crisp cucumbers, green peppers, and a splash of red wine vinegar were blended until smooth and then chilled until the flavors mingled into a refreshing soup. Instead of serving it in a traditional bowl, hosts poured the mixture into tiny shot glasses or small tumblers, turning a humble peasant dish into a glamorous party starter. Guests could sip it like a drink or tip the glass back in one smooth motion, savoring the cold burst of garden-fresh flavor that cooled the palate instantly. Preparation was wonderfully simple. A few minutes with a blender, a quick rest in the refrigerator, and it was ready. This dish appealed to health-conscious diners exploring lighter fare and adventurous partygoers eager to try Spanish-inspired flavors. In an era obsessed with convenience but open to international ideas, Gazpacho shots delivered sophistication without a single moment near the stove. Their bright color and lively taste made them an unforgettable highlight of any 1970s soiree, proving that 5-minute recipes could indeed be both bold and refined. Carrot raisin salad proved that even the simplest vegetables could star in a quick and memorable side dish during the fast-paced 1970s. Fresh carrots were peeled and grated into airy shreds that glowed a brilliant orange, then tossed with sweet raisins that softened slightly as they absorbed a quick dressing of honey, lemon juice, and mayonnaise. A light sprinkle of salt and a dash of cinnamon gave the salad a gentle complexity that kept each bite exciting. Families loved this recipe because it fit anywhere: inside school lunchboxes, on picnic blankets, or alongside a weeknight roast. The naturally sweet flavor meant children happily ate their vegetables, while adults appreciated the refreshing crunch. Preparation rarely took more than a handful of minutes, and the ingredients were inexpensive and easy to keep on hand. Served chilled, it brought a cool contrast to heavier dishes and brightened any plate with its cheerful color. In an age when speed and health were becoming culinary priorities, carrot raisin salad captured both beautifully, making it a beloved staple that offered nutrition and nostalgia in every forkful without ever breaking the 5-minute rule of quick kitchen magic. Pickle-wrapped ham rolls were the ultimate retro finger food, mixing tangy, creamy, and smoky flavors in a tidy little bundle. Thin slices of deli-style ham were laid flat and spread with a smooth layer of cream cheese whipped until airy and easy to glide across the meat. A crisp dill pickle spear was placed in the center, and the ham was rolled tightly around it like a savory present. Each roll was then sliced into bite-sized rounds that revealed a cheerful swirl of pink, white, and green. This snack came together in moments and needed no cooking, making it a go-to choice for last-minute parties or after-school treats. The crunch of the pickle balanced the richness of the cream cheese, while the salty ham tied everything together, creating a flavor that was bright yet satisfying. Guests loved the playful look and unexpected zing, while hosts appreciated how easily the rolls could be made ahead and served straight from the refrigerator. During a decade that celebrated quick but flavorful bites, pickle-wrapped ham rolls were a clever solution that proved simplicity can still feel exciting. Herbed cream cheese cucumber bites brought a refreshing sophistication to 1970s snack tables with very little effort required. Cool cucumber rounds were sliced into even coins, their pale green surfaces ready to hold a dollop of creamy, herb-filled cheese. The spread was whipped from softened cream cheese mixed with fresh dill, chives, and a splash of lemon juice, creating a bright flavor that woke up the palate. A quick twist of black pepper added a gentle bite, while a few tiny herb leaves on top turned each piece into a miniature work of art. Hosts loved how the crisp cucumber provided a natural serving vessel, keeping everything neat and easy to pick up. Guests enjoyed the contrast of crunch and smoothness and the way the herbs cut through the richness of the cheese. Preparation took only minutes, yet the result looked like something from a high-end hors d'oeuvre tray. In an era when light appetizers were starting to share space with heavier fare, these bites stood out as a clean, modern option that captured the decade's growing love for fresh flavors and elegant simplicity in every 5-minute creation. Devonshire tea sandwiches offered a gentle nod to classic British afternoon gatherings, while perfectly suiting the brisk rhythm of American entertaining in the 1970s. Thin slices of soft white bread were spread lightly with sweet butter, then layered with delicate watercress leaves that brought a peppery freshness. The sandwiches were trimmed of crusts and cut into tidy rectangles or triangles, creating a clean, graceful look that appealed to both casual and formal crowds. Hosts could prepare an entire platter in just minutes, stacking the dainty pieces on silver trays or colorful plates to match the occasion. Despite their simplicity, the sandwiches carried a quiet sophistication that felt right at home at bridal showers, garden parties, or holiday teas. The mild butteriness balanced the bright green snap of the watercress, offering a subtle but memorable flavor that never overwhelmed the palate. Guests appreciated the lightness after richer fare and loved the way these sandwiches paired with hot tea or a chilled sparkling drink. Quick to assemble yet timeless in presentation, Devonshire tea sandwiches demonstrated how a few quality ingredients could create a moment of refined pleasure in less than 5 minutes. Mini pizzas on English muffins became an instant family favorite because they delivered the flavor of a pizzeria without a delivery phone call or a long wait. Pre-toasted muffin halves provided a sturdy base that crisped beautifully under a broiler. A spoonful of jarred tomato sauce spread across each half formed the quick foundation, followed by a generous sprinkle of shredded mozzarella and any toppings on hand, from sliced mushrooms to tiny pepperoni rounds. A few minutes under the heat and the cheese bubbled into golden perfection, while the muffins stayed just firm enough to hold their shape. Children loved building their own combinations, turning dinner into a playful activity that required no sharp knives or complex cooking skills. Parents appreciated how the recipe used pantry staples and could be ready faster than a frozen pizza ever could. Served as an after-school snack, a casual party treat, or a late-night bite, these mini pizzas proved that the fun of homemade comfort food could be captured in well under 5 minutes of real kitchen work. Curried egg salad. Lettuce cups turned a classic lunchtime staple into something exotic and lively, reflecting the 1970s fascination with international spices. Hard-cooked eggs were quickly chopped and blended with mayonnaise, a dash of mustard, and a fragrant spoonful of golden curry powder. Freshly chopped celery and green onions added crunch and a subtle bite, while a squeeze of lemon brightened the whole mixture. Instead of the usual bread, the salad was spooned into crisp lettuce leaves, creating a cool, handheld wrap that looked as good as it tasted. This twist required no stove time beyond the pre-cooked eggs and came together in moments, making it ideal for warm days or busy evenings. The mild heat of the curry lent a gentle warmth that felt exciting but not overpowering, introducing many home cooks to flavors beyond the traditional American pantry. Guests loved the vibrant color and surprising aroma, while hosts enjoyed the ease of serving something that felt both healthful and adventurous. In just a few minutes, these lettuce cups showed how a small change in seasoning could reinvent an old favorite. Cheddar apple snackers brought a playful fondue-inspired flair to quick entertaining, pairing tart, crisp apple slices with the sharp bite of good-aged cheddar. The apples were cut into thin wedges and arranged on a chilled platter, while the cheese was sliced into tidy squares or small sticks for easy picking. The sweet juiciness of the fruit balanced the salty richness of the cheese, creating a combination that felt both comforting and surprisingly elegant. A light drizzle of honey or a sprinkle of cinnamon could be added at the last second for a little extra warmth, though the pairing needed no embellishment to shine. This snack became popular at wine and cheese parties where guests wanted something light to nibble on without a full meal. Parents also used it as a fast after-school treat that managed to feel special while sneaking in a bit of nutrition. Ready in the time it takes to slice an apple, Cheddar apple snackers captured the 1970s spirit of easy entertaining and inventive flavor pairing, proving that sometimes the simplest ideas are the ones everyone remembers. Quick crab dip earned its place on every 1970s buffet because it delivered rich seafood flavor with astonishing speed. A can of lump crab meat was drained and gently folded into softened cream cheese mixed with a splash of lemon juice, a shake of hot sauce, and a touch of Worcestershire for depth. Some hosts added a pinch of fresh dill or parsley for color, but the core recipe stayed wonderfully simple. The dip could be served cold with crackers and vegetable sticks or warmed briefly for a more indulgent spread. Either way, it offered the taste of a seaside restaurant without the cost or the wait. Guests loved the creamy texture and the subtle sweetness of real crab, while hosts appreciated that it could be made moments before a party and still impress a crowd. In a decade where convenience foods ruled but flavor remained king, quick crab dip stood out as a 5-minute marvel that felt like a luxury. It proved that a well-stocked pantry and a little creativity could bring the ocean to any suburban kitchen with almost no effort at all. Spinach dip and rice squares captured the heart of every 1970s gathering by turning a humble sour cream base into a bold centerpiece in minutes. Frozen chopped spinach was thawed and squeezed dry before being stirred into sour cream and mayonnaise with a packet of vegetable soup mix for instant flavor. Chopped water chestnuts added a satisfying crunch, while a splash of lemon brightened the creamy mixture. Cocktail rye bread slices became the perfect little serving plates, sturdy enough to hold a generous scoop without softening. Hosts loved how quickly the dip came together and how easily it could be made ahead of time, while guests admired the earthy green color and savory aroma. No stove or oven was required, just a quick mix and chill to let the flavors meld. Served cold or at room temperature, these bite-sized squares made cocktail hours and neighborhood parties feel special without any last-minute stress. Salmon mousse on crackers offered a rich yet speedy spread that brought a taste of the sea to every retro buffet. Canned salmon was drained and blended with softened cream cheese, a squeeze of fresh lemon juice, and a pinch of dill until smooth and airy. A quick dash of Worcestershire or hot sauce added depth and a gentle kick, while a scattering of chopped chives provided color. Spread onto crisp crackers or piped through a pastry bag for a decorative swirl, this mousse looked elegant but required only a few minutes of effort. Its creamy texture paired beautifully with the light crunch of the cracker, creating a snack that felt indulgent yet effortless. Hosts appreciated the affordability and convenience of shelf-stable salmon, and guests loved the balance of tangy citrus and savory fish. In less time than it took to set the table, a platter of salmon mousse transformed any gathering into something memorable. Frozen orange. Julius delivered a frothy mall-era flashback that felt like pure sunshine in a glass. Orange juice concentrate was blended with cold milk, ice cubes, sugar, and a touch of vanilla extract until smooth and foamy. The result was a sweet, creamy drink that balanced the brightness of citrus with the richness of milk, making it both refreshing and slightly indulgent. Children adored the dessert-like texture, while adults welcomed the nostalgic reminder of shopping center treat stands and carefree weekend afternoons. Preparation took only a few minutes and no special equipment beyond a blender, which made it perfect for a spontaneous family snack or a lively brunch drink. Served in tall, chilled glasses with a straw, it looked festive without requiring any garnish at all. One sip instantly transported everyone back to the decade of wide collars and disco lights, proof that simple ingredients could create lasting memories. Peanut butter banana milkshake turned two pantry staples into a thick and creamy drink that fit perfectly with 1970s health food trends. Ripe bananas were peeled and dropped into a blender with smooth peanut butter, cold milk, and a drizzle of honey for natural sweetness. Ice cubes added a frosty texture, while a pinch of cinnamon offered a warm spice that balanced the nutty flavor. This quick shake delivered protein and energy, making it a favorite after-school treat or a speedy breakfast for busy mornings. Health-conscious adults enjoyed the natural ingredients, while kids loved the dessert-like taste and milkshake consistency. Preparation took less than 5 minutes from start to finish, and cleanup was just as easy. Poured into tall glasses, it carried the comforting flavors of a peanut butter sandwich but in a refreshing, drinkable form, making it a simple pleasure that captured the decade's enthusiasm for wholesome yet indulgent snacks. Yogurt. Parfaits with granola brought the early health movement right to the breakfast table with cheerful layers of color and texture. Plain or lightly sweetened yogurt was spooned into a clear glass, followed by fresh seasonal fruit such as strawberries, blueberries, or peaches. A crunchy layer of granola added a nutty contrast and a satisfying bite. Then the layers were repeated until the glass looked like a bright, edible rainbow. This simple assembly required no cooking and could be customized with whatever fruit or nuts were on hand. It was a quick, nourishing option that appealed to families eager to embrace the decade's growing focus on natural foods. Children loved the fun of spooning through the colorful layers, while adults appreciated the balance of protein, fiber, and natural sweetness. Ready in moments and beautiful enough for a brunch table, yogurt parfaits proved that health-conscious eating could be both practical and delightful. Cold sesame noodle cups offered a refreshing Asian-inspired snack that perfectly matched the adventurous palate of the 1970s. Pre-cooked noodles were rinsed in cold water and tossed with a bottled sesame dressing rich with soy sauce, rice vinegar, and toasted sesame oil. Thinly sliced scallions, shredded carrots, and a sprinkle of sesame seeds added color and crunch. The dish could be prepared hours ahead and served chilled in small cups, making it ideal for picnics or late-night gatherings. The nutty aroma and savory sweet flavor introduced many Americans to the taste of East Asian cuisine while fitting neatly into the quick and easy category. Hosts loved how it stayed flavorful even after sitting out for a while, and guests enjoyed the cool, slippery texture on warm days. With just minutes of preparation and no need for a stove once the noodles were boiled, these cups became a favorite for lively summer parties. Bagel with lox and cream cheese became the star of brunch tables during the 1970s, marrying rich flavor with quick assembly. Fresh bagels were sliced and lightly toasted before being generously spread with smooth cream cheese. Thin slices of silky smoked salmon, known as lox, were layered on top, sometimes finished with slivers of red onion, capers, or a squeeze of lemon juice for brightness. This combination created a satisfying mix of creamy, smoky, and tangy tastes that felt indulgent yet sophisticated. Preparation took only a few minutes, allowing busy hosts to serve a dish that impressed without stress. The bagel's chewiness balanced the delicate fish and creamy spread, making each bite memorable. Popular in delis and home kitchens alike, this dish reflected the decades' love of cosmopolitan flavors and quick morning meals. It remains a beloved choice for anyone seeking a fast but elegant breakfast or brunch experience. Marinated artichoke hearts delivered Mediterranean charm straight from the pantry to the plate with almost no effort. Tender artichoke hearts were taken from a jar of seasoned oil and herbs, their leaves already infused with garlic, oregano, and lemon. Served as is or lightly warmed, they offered a tangy bite that stood out among typical American side dishes. Hosts simply drained the jar, arranged the glistening pieces on a platter, and maybe added a sprinkle of fresh parsley for color. Guests loved the unique flavor and pleasantly soft texture, and many discovered artichokes for the first time through this simple preparation. It was a perfect example of how imported ingredients gained popularity during the 1970s as people grew curious about global tastes. With no chopping or cooking required, marinated artichoke hearts turned an ordinary evening into something a little more sophisticated while keeping the clock firmly under 5 minutes from jar to table. Quick cheese fondue. Dip brought the fun of a communal pot to the snack table without the lengthy setup of traditional fondue. Processed cheese was gently melted with a splash of white wine or light beer until smooth and creamy. A pinch of garlic powder or mustard could be added for extra flavor, and the warm dip was served immediately with cubes of bread, apple slices, or blanched vegetables. The recipe captured the spirit of European fondue parties while staying true to the American love of convenience. Guests enjoyed the interactive dipping while hosts appreciated how quickly the dish came together using common pantry staples. In under 5 minutes, a bubbling pot of cheese could turn an ordinary gathering into a lively event. It was a perfect balance of indulgence and efficiency, making it a signature party dish of the decade and a reminder that a little melted cheese has the power to bring everyone to the table. Strawberry angel food trifle transformed store-bought cake and fruit into a light and airy dessert that looked impressive without any real labor. Angel food cake was cut into soft cubes and layered with freshly sliced strawberries and clouds of sweetened whipped cream inside a clear glass bowl. The alternating layers created a striking pattern of red and white that made the dessert as beautiful as it was delicious. Because all the components were ready-made, assembly took only minutes and required no baking skills at all. The delicate texture of the cake absorbed the strawberry juices, giving each bite a burst of flavor while remaining feather-light. Perfect for summer evenings or last-minute dinner parties, it delivered elegance and comfort in equal measure. Guests were always delighted by the refreshing sweetness and the eye-catching presentation, making this trifle a cherished quick recipe that still feels timeless decades later. Cucumber and dill salad was a refreshing and speedy side dish that combined crisp, cool cucumbers with the bright, herbaceous flavor of fresh dill. This salad required minimal preparation, typically involving thinly sliced cucumbers tossed with a light dressing made from vinegar, sugar, and sometimes sour cream or yogurt. It was a popular choice in mid-century American kitchens for its clean taste and ease of assembly. Cucumber and dill salad offered a crisp contrast to heavier main courses, making it a welcome addition to summer meals and potlucks. Its use of fresh herbs and simple ingredients reflected the era's appreciation for fresh produce and balanced flavors. The salad's quick preparation made it accessible to cooks looking for fast, healthy options. Cucumber and dill salad remains a nostalgic favorite, celebrated for its bright flavors and straightforward charm that epitomize classic home cooking. Chilled potato and green bean salad was a refreshing and popular vegetable side dish in 1960s America, made by combining boiled potatoes and green beans with a simple vinaigrette and serving it cold. This salad was especially favored during summer barbecues, picnics, and casual dinners because it provided a cool, light contrast to heavier grilled meats and rich main courses. The boiled potatoes offered a soft, comforting base that balanced well with the crisp, bright green beans, which added color and texture. The vinaigrette, typically made from vinegar, oil, and seasonings, brightened the dish without overpowering the fresh vegetables. Its tangy flavor helped cut through the richness of other dishes on the table, making it a perfect palate cleanser. The salad's quick preparation and ability to be made ahead of time made it especially practical for busy home cooks looking for easy but tasty side dishes. While modern potato salads often use creamy dressings, this lighter Tangier version remains a nostalgic reminder of mid-century American cuisine's preference for simple, vegetable-forward cold sides that complemented a variety of meals and seasons. Chicken and rice baked with cream soup was a casserole that could turn just a couple of chicken pieces into a meal large enough to feed the whole family. Raw rice was combined in a baking dish with cream of mushroom or cream of chicken soup, water, and simple seasonings. The chicken was placed on top, and the whole dish baked until the meat was tender and the rice had absorbed all the creamy, savory flavor. This hands-off cooking method made it a favorite for busy weeknights, while its affordability made it a reliable choice for families keeping a close eye on grocery bills. Using a single casserole dish also meant less cleanup afterward, which only added to its appeal. Leftovers reheated well, making it ideal for packing into lunch containers the next day. Many variations existed, with some cooks adding vegetables like peas or carrots directly into the rice for a complete one-pan dinner. Whether served at the kitchen table on a weeknight or brought to a potluck chicken and rice bake was dependable, filling, and comforting. It embodied the idea that good food didn't need to be complicated, expensive, or labor-intensive to be deeply satisfying. Vienna sausage stew was a dish that leaned heavily on canned goods. But in the 1950s, canned food was a modern marvel that kept meals quick and cheap. Families would slice Vienna sausages straight from the tin and simmer them with potatoes, onions, and canned tomatoes. The result was a simple but hearty stew that could be served with bread for dipping. Children often liked the mild flavor of the sausages, while parents appreciated the low cost and easy preparation. This stew was not glamorous, but it filled bellies on weeknights when energy and money were short. It also became a common dish for small community gatherings as it was easy to make in large batches. By combining shelf-stable items with fresh vegetables, families could stretch their food budget without sacrificing taste. Vienna sausage stew reflected the mid-century balance between convenience and tradition, and though it has nearly disappeared today, it once represented comfort on a dime. Green bean almondine was a speedy and flavorful side dish that perfectly captured mid-century America's love for simple, elegant vegetables. This recipe involved sautéing fresh green beans in butter and tossing them with toasted almonds for a satisfying crunch. The dish was favored for its minimal preparation time and ability to elevate humble green beans into a sophisticated accompaniment. Its buttery richness paired with the nuttiness of almonds complemented a wide range of main courses, from roasted meats to casual dinners. Popular at family gatherings and holiday meals, green bean almondine offered a fresh yet indulgent way to serve vegetables. The recipe's success lay in balancing texture and flavor, while requiring only a few ingredients readily found in most kitchens. This dish reflected the era's trend toward incorporating fresh produce into everyday meals with straightforward, quick-cooking methods. Its continued popularity attests to its timeless appeal and the nostalgic memories it evokes of classic American home cooking. Quick chili cheese dip, was a warm, spicy appetizer made by combining canned chili with shredded cheese and heating briefly until melted and bubbly. This 10-minute recipe was perfect for parties, game days, or casual get-togethers, delivering a satisfying mix of smoky, cheesy, and spicy flavors. The dip was often served with tortilla chips or crackers, making it easy to share and enjoy in a communal setting. Its simplicity and speed reflected mid-century America's love for convenience foods that could be whipped up without much fuss. Using canned chili ensured the dip was budget-friendly and accessible to many households. Although chili cheese dip remains popular today, the quick homemade versions of the 1960s had a distinctive charm rooted in combining pantry staples into crowd-pleasing dishes. This recipe embodies the era's knack for hearty, flavorful snacks that made entertaining both easy and delicious. Homemade pizza with canned toppings became a budget-friendly way to enjoy a special meal at home without paying for expensive pizzeria pies. Families would make a simple crust from flour, yeast, and water, then spread on tomato sauce from a can and layer affordable toppings like canned mushrooms, olives, or pineapple. Shredded cheese, often a blend of mozzarella and cheddar, was sprinkled generously or sparingly depending on the budget. The beauty of homemade pizza was that it could be adapted to whatever was on hand, from sliced hot dogs to leftover vegetables, making it as thrifty or as loaded as needed. Baking it in the oven filled the kitchen with a warm, savory aroma that made everyone eager to gather at the table. Kids loved helping assemble the toppings, making it as much an activity as a meal. By using canned ingredients, there was no worry about food spoiling before it could be used, and sales on pantry staples often meant pizza night cost only a fraction of takeout prices. It was an easy way to turn an ordinary evening into something festive, proving that delicious comfort food could be made from shelf-stable ingredients with just a little creativity and care. Milk toast may sound too simple to be a dinner, but in the 1950s it was still a comforting staple, especially for children and the elderly. The dish was made by pouring warm milk over buttered toast and sprinkling it lightly with sugar or cinnamon. It was soft, mild, and easy to digest, which made it especially popular in homes where money was tight or illness-limited diets. Parents often made it as a quick supper when little else was available. Despite its plain appearance, milk toast carried an emotional weight because it was associated with care and comfort. Children saw it as a treat, while adults saw it as a reminder of leaner years when even simple foods mattered. The combination of warm milk and crisp toast provided both nourishment and reassurance. Though it has largely disappeared from modern kitchens, in the 1950s it was beloved as a gentle and familiar meal that everyone could afford. Turkey and cranberry wraps were a clever and quick lunch idea that made excellent use of holiday leftovers in mid-century America. This recipe wrapped slices of leftover roasted turkey with a spread of sweet cranberry sauce inside soft tortillas or flatbreads. It offered a perfect balance between savory and sweet, combining the hearty flavors of turkey with the bright tartness of cranberries. Turkey and cranberry wraps were appreciated for their speed of assembly and portability, making them ideal for packed lunches or light dinners. The dish reflected the era's emphasis on practicality and frugality, encouraging cooks to creatively reuse festive ingredients. Its fresh, vibrant taste made it appealing beyond the holiday season, extending its presence in everyday meals. This recipe highlighted how simple ingredients could be transformed into satisfying, flavorful options that fit the busy pace of post-war life. Turkey and cranberry wraps continue to evoke the warmth and resourcefulness of classic American cooking traditions. Quick fruit and nut yogurt. Parfait was a quick and nutritious treat beloved in the 1960s for its simple assembly and delightful flavors. This parfait layered creamy yogurt with sweet canned fruits such as peaches or pineapple, along with a generous sprinkling of chopped nuts like walnuts or pecans. The combination provided a pleasing contrast between the smooth, tangy yogurt, the juicy fruit, and the crunchy texture of the nuts. Perfect for breakfast, a snack, or a light dessert, this recipe required minimal preparation time, fitting the era's demand for fast, wholesome meals. The canned fruit added a convenient sweetness that balanced the natural tartness of yogurt, while the nuts contributed protein and richness. This parfait was often served in clear glasses to showcase its colorful layers, making it visually appealing as well as tasty. Its popularity reflected the growing awareness of health and nutrition during the decade, along with a desire for fresh, easy-to-make dishes. While today's parfaits may include granola or fresh fruit, the classic 1960s fruit and nut yogurt parfait remains a nostalgic favorite, combining pantry staples into a satisfying and wholesome treat that anyone could whip up in moments. Goulash with elbow macaroni was a hearty, crowd-pleasing dish that fit perfectly into the 1970s budget-conscious kitchen. Ground beef was browned with onions, then simmered in a tomato-based sauce seasoned with paprika, garlic, and sometimes a pinch of sugar for balance. Elbow macaroni was cooked right in the sauce, soaking up every bit of flavor while saving on extra pots to wash. This dish was ideal for stretching a small amount of meat across multiple servings, with the pasta and sauce providing the bulk of the meal. It could be served immediately for dinner or reheated for lunches throughout the week without losing its appeal. In many households, goulash became a go-to for family gatherings or church suppers because it was inexpensive, filling, and easy to make in large quantities. The paprika gave it a warm, distinctive taste that stood out from other pasta dishes, and its simplicity meant even beginner cooks could master it. Many families added their own twists, extra vegetables, cheese, or herbs to suit their tastes. The end result was always a steaming, satisfying plate of food that comforted on cold nights and stretched the grocery budget just a little bit further with every serving. Old-fashioned succotash was a blend of corn and lima beans that seemed almost too simple, yet it was beloved in the 1950s. The two ingredients were sautéed together in butter or drippings until tender and lightly seasoned. The sweetness of the corn paired perfectly with the creamy texture of the beans, creating a dish that felt both hearty and fresh. It was often served as a side dish but could be eaten on its own when meat was scarce. Many families grew corn and beans in backyard gardens, so succotash was a natural choice for thrifty households. The dish had roots in Native American cooking, but became a symbol of rustic comfort in mid-century America. Children liked it because of its mild sweetness, while adults appreciated how inexpensive and filling it was. Succotash represented the best of 1950s resourcefulness, turning two simple crops into a staple that people still remember fondly today. Creamed corn on toast served as a comforting and quick Southern-inspired dish that made the most of pantry staples. This recipe blended tender corn kernels with a creamy sauce, often thickened with butter and milk, poured generously over toasted bread. The result was a rich, warm meal or side that offered both softness and a touch of sweetness in every bite. Creamed corn on toast was favored for its simplicity, requiring little time or complicated ingredients, yet delivering a satisfying flavor. Its roots lay in Southern cooking traditions where corn was a dietary mainstay and stretching meals creatively was common. This dish was especially popular during times when fresh vegetables were scarce, but canned or frozen corn was more readily available. It provided comfort and nourishment with minimal fuss, fitting perfectly into the fast-paced routines of mid-century households. The toast added a pleasant crunch that contrasted with the smoothness of the creamed corn, making it a textural delight. Over the years, it became a nostalgic favorite remembered for its humble origins and dependable appeal. Chicken and celery salad cups were a refreshing and hearty cold dish that featured shredded cooked chicken combined with crunchy celery and creamy mayonnaise, served in crisp lettuce or endive cups. This 10-minute recipe was a favorite at 1960s cocktail parties and family gatherings for its convenience and attractive presentation. The chicken and celery mixture was lightly seasoned and chilled, providing a cool, satisfying filling that balanced the tender meat with fresh, crisp vegetables. Serving the salad in lettuce or endive leaves allowed for an elegant finger food option that was both light and filling. This dish showcased the era's talent for transforming simple ingredients into stylish, easy-to-eat appetizers. Though modern tastes have shifted towards different wraps and dips, chicken and celery salad cups remain a delightful example of mid-century American entertaining that combined speed, flavor, and sophistication. Cabbage roll casserole took all the flavors of traditional stuffed cabbage and turned them into an easy, budget-friendly bake. Instead of painstakingly rolling each cabbage leaf around the filling, chopped cabbage was layered with a seasoned mixture of rice, tomato sauce, and ground beef in a large casserole dish. This shortcut saved precious time, while still delivering the same comforting blend of sweet cabbage and tangy tomato that people loved. It was an affordable way to feed a family because the rice and cabbage made up most of the volume, allowing a small amount of meat to go a long way. As the casserole baked slowly, the flavors melded beautifully, and the cabbage softened until it was tender and sweet. Leftovers were just as good, sometimes even better the next day, making it a smart choice for tight weekly meal plans. Every family had its own spin, often seasoning with paprika, garlic, or fresh herbs from the garden. In many homes, this dish represented a perfect marriage of tradition and practicality, proving that with creativity, even the simplest pantry ingredients could deliver a meal that wrapped you in comfort after a long day. Scalloped onions might sound unusual now, but in the 1950s, they were considered an affordable delicacy. The recipe involved slicing onions thinly and baking them in a cream or milk sauce until tender. Topped with breadcrumbs, the dish developed a golden crust that contrasted with the sweet, mellow onions beneath. This was a way to elevate one of the cheapest vegetables into something rich and satisfying. Families often served scalloped onions as a side dish for Sunday dinners, where it added variety to otherwise plain meals. Onions were plentiful, inexpensive, and easy to store, making them a smart choice for budget-conscious households. Baked in cream, they transformed into a dish that felt far more indulgent than its cost suggested. While few people make scalloped onions today, at the time they were celebrated in church cookbooks and women's magazines as a thrifty yet elegant option. They stand as a reminder of how creative cooks turned basics into memorable dinners. Cheese and pickle toasties offered a warm, tangy snack that was a common fixture in vintage American cookbooks. These toasties combined melted cheese with pickles, sandwiched between slices of bread and grilled or toasted until golden and bubbly. The contrasting flavors of creamy cheese and sharp pickles created a satisfying balance that made this snack appealing across age groups. Quick to assemble and easy to cook, cheese and pickle toasties became a favorite when a simple yet flavorful snack was needed without fuss. The recipe's enduring popularity stemmed from its use of accessible ingredients and the way it elevated basic staples into a tasty treat. These toasties often brought a sense of nostalgia, reminding many of afternoons spent at home or school with comforting homemade snacks. They exemplify how mid-century cooks combined familiar flavors in straightforward ways to deliver maximum enjoyment with minimal effort. The warm, crispy exterior and gooey filling remain a hallmark of this beloved classic. Quick pickled onion rings were a tangy and crunchy addition to many 1960s sandwiches and salads, made by soaking thin red onion slices in a simple vinegar brine. This speedy pickling process softened the onion's bite while preserving their vibrant color and crisp texture. The resulting rings added sharp acidity and a refreshing crunch that brightened heavier dishes and complemented cold cuts and burgers. Popular at picnics, barbecues, and casual family meals, these pickled onion rings could be prepared in just minutes and stored for later use. Their ease of preparation and bold flavor aligned with the mid-century preference for quick, flavorful condiments that enhanced simple foods. While pickled onions remain popular today, this particular quick pickling method evokes a nostalgic approach to homemade, tangy toppings that defined 1960s American cooking. Ground beef and potato hash was a skillet meal that stretched a small amount of meat into something hearty enough to satisfy hungry stomachs after a long day. Diced potatoes were fried until golden and crisp, then combined with browned ground beef, onions, and simple seasonings. The result was a dish with plenty of texture, crispy edges on the potatoes, tender bits of beef, and the sweetness of caramelized onions tying it all together. This meal was endlessly adaptable, with some families adding vegetables like bell peppers or corn for extra flavor and bulk. It was a natural choice for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and it could be made in large batches without much extra effort. In frugal kitchens, hash was a way to make every ingredient count, turning basic staples into something satisfying and filling. It was also quick to prepare, making it a weeknight favorite. Served on its own or topped with a fried egg, ground beef, and potato hash was the kind of no-frills comfort food that felt like a reward at the end of the day. It proved that even the simplest combinations could be deeply flavorful and endlessly comforting. Hot water cornbread was a humble yet satisfying dish that brought Southern tradition into mid-century kitchens across America. The recipe was simple: cornmeal mixed with boiling water until thick, shaped into patties, and fried until golden in hot bacon grease. The bacon fat added flavor that plain oil never could, making each bite rich and savory. This dish was often served alongside beans, greens, or stews, acting as both bread and side dish. Families loved how inexpensive it was, especially when cornmeal remained one of the cheapest staples available. It also required no yeast or rising time, so it could be made quickly when supper needed to be on the table fast. Children enjoyed the crisp edges and warm, soft centers, while parents saw it as a way to stretch meager ingredients. Hot water cornbread was proof that the simplest foods could bring joy and nourishment. Though often overlooked today, it was once an everyday favorite that carried both flavor and frugality in every bite. Sloppy Joe sliders captured the spirit of casual mid-century American dining with a miniature take on the iconic Sloppy Joe sandwich. These small-sized versions used seasoned ground beef cooked in a tangy tomato-based sauce, spooned onto mini buns or rolls. The sliders maintained all the messy, flavorful charm of the original dish, while offering a bite-sized option suitable for parties or quick meals. Sloppy Joe sliders reflected the era's growing interest in convenience foods and finger foods that were easy to serve and share. They became popular in homes where families sought fun, informal dining experiences without spending hours preparing food. The recipe was praised for using inexpensive ingredients and stretching ground meat across multiple servings, making it budget-conscious. Its presence at gatherings and potlucks highlighted a sense of community and simple enjoyment. The sliders also represented a culinary evolution where traditional meals adapted to smaller, snack-friendly formats, showcasing mid-century creativity in the kitchen. Chilled tomato gazpacho shots were a refreshing and flavorful cold appetizer that offered a taste of Mediterranean cuisine adapted to American kitchens in the 1960s. This recipe blended fresh tomatoes with cucumber, bell pepper, garlic, and seasonings into a smooth, chilled soup served in small shot glasses or appetizer cups. Gazpacho's cool temperature and vibrant, tangy flavor made it an ideal starter for summer meals and dinner parties, providing a light and healthy option before the main course. The quick blending process meant the dish could be prepared in 10 minutes or less, fitting the growing desire for fast yet impressive recipes. These tomato gazpacho shots showcased the era's interest in international flavors and novel presentations that elevated simple ingredients. Though gazpacho is more widely known today, serving it in shot-sized portions remains a charming retro way to enjoy this classic cold soup. This recipe reminds us of the 1960s fascination with global cuisine and stylish entertaining made easy. Baked bean and hot dog bake turned two of the cheapest grocery staples into something both kids and adults could not wait to eat. Large cans of baked beans were stirred together with sliced hot dogs and baked until the mixture was bubbling and thick, filling the kitchen with a sweet, smoky aroma. A topping of breadcrumbs or shredded cheese was sometimes added if the budget allowed, turning it into something even more special. The natural sweetness of the beans balanced perfectly with the salty smokiness of the hot dogs, making it taste indulgent even though it cost very little to prepare. This was the kind of dish you could bring to a school potluck, a church supper, or a casual weeknight dinner and know it would be gone in minutes. Some cooks tossed in chopped onions, peppers, or even a splash of mustard for extra tang, while others kept it simple for the pickiest eaters. Served alongside cornbread or a crisp green salad, it was a complete, satisfying meal that embodied the thrifty yet crowd-pleasing spirit of 1970s home cooking. Baked rice and raisins was one of those quiet comfort dishes that made the most of inexpensive pantry ingredients. Families in the 1950s would cook rice with milk, sugar, and a handful of raisins, then bake it until tender and slightly golden. The result was a sweet, custard-like dish that could serve as dessert or even as supper when money was tight. Its appeal lay in the way it used what people already had on hand without needing meat or costly extras. The raisins added bursts of sweetness, and the milk gave the dish a creamy texture that felt indulgent even though it was plain. Many children grew up eating baked rice and raisins after church or school, while parents valued its simplicity and affordability. It was also easily adaptable. Cinnamon, nutmeg, or even a bit of vanilla could transform it into something special. This dish carried both practicality and nostalgia, reminding families that a warm oven and basic staples could provide both comfort and satisfaction in hard times. Share your favorite speedy 70s bite in the comments, hit like if these retro flavors made you hungry, and subscribe for more tasty trips back in time.